Hi, I'm Stephanie Poole, founder and CEO of Birth Prep Academy. I'm on a mission to help pregnant moms prepare for their first birth. I'm sharing revealing conversations about what it really takes to successfully transition into motherhood. So, join me here to discover things like what to expect in childbirth, how to prepare for your birth. We'll talk about breastfeeding and so much more. I am so grateful to share it all with you right here on Oh Baby, the podcast created for pregnant moms preparing for their first birth. Let's get started. Hello and welcome. I am really excited to be here. I hope everything is okay. I am really excited to be here. If this is your first time joining me, my name is Stephanie Poole, and I am the founder of Birth Prep Academy, where we help pregnant women prepare for their first birth. And if you can tell by the title, The 3 Reasons Why Birth Plans Don't Work, I'm really excited to jump in and do a deep dive on some of the things that I found just over the time of working with so many clients and what has really come to the surface as to why they don't work. I feel like there is resistance when it comes to making a birth plan. And if I take a step back, obvious, because research shows that women who make a birth plan just tend to have more of a positive birth experience. So that's what we know for sure. But even with that being said, there's still a lot of resistance to it because there's a mindset block. Usually I find that there needs to be a shift in how we view it, so that we can see the importance and why we need to do it so that we can glean the benefits from having a birth plan. And so it's pretty odd to jump in and say, here's 3 reasons why they don't work. But I'm hoping that as we go through this content, that as we go through everything that I have laid out here, that we can deconstruct some of those thoughts so that you guys can move forward in planning for your birth. I want you to have the best possible experience that you can have. It's such a life-changing event that I want you guys to look back on it and really be able to embrace that moment. And part of doing that is to have an effective birth plan that really works. So let's go ahead and jump in, and by doing that, I'm actually going to take a step back and just lay the foundation of what a birth plan is. So a birth plan is essentially just an outline of your birth preferences, things that you want to implement because you feel like it will help you to labor and to deliver more comfortably. So that's essentially all a birth plan is. And the importance of the birth plan is because it allows you to infuse you into your birth process. And I know some people feel like birth is birth. It's pretty much a process that's been around since the beginning of time. And you feel like, what can I really do to change that? But having a birth plan really does help you to infuse you and it into a universal process, right? Birth is birth. No matter where you're located on the globe, a woman carries a baby for approximately 9 months, and then the baby passes through the birth canal and into the world, right? And so that no matter where you are, that is the process. But a birth plan allows you to really infuse that process with more of you and your preferences, right? What makes you more comfortable? How you deliver, how you labor is likely going to be different from what my preferences would be. And so having a birth plan allows you to really, I have this saying that it allows birth to happen through you and not to you. It really is the backbone or the underlying thread as to why I even started Birth Prep Academy. because I myself, with my first birth, I felt like it happened to me. Right? I didn't really have a good plan and birth just happened. I thought I knew what I needed to know, but it turns out I didn't. And because of it, my experience just was not optimal. And I just, in that moment, made a decision that I really wanted to help other women coming through. And I think it's important to have someone hold your hand and walk you through that process so that you can understand some of the things that we think we might know to be ready for birth, but we're not really there. And it's okay because you've never given birth before. If this is your first pregnancy, if it's your first birth, you need that someone to stand on the sidelines and walk you through the process. And so that's what I'm hoping to do today and throughout your birth journey. So let's go ahead and jump into 3 reasons why your birth plan is probably not working. So number 1, they're too long. They are too long. Guys, you should see, like, I've seen some that you download, right? It's a PDF. They're pretty much fill in the blank, and they have all of these prompts to get you to fill out what your desired choice would be. And that's not good. It's just not effective in the moment. Having given birth, I totally understand that it's just not effective to walk into a hospital where most women give birth, or if you choose to be at home, or a standalone birthing center, which are usually the top 3 options for giving birth. It's just not practical to walk in with a notebook of all of these preferences, right? It's just not practical. And let me break down why. Number 1, because your healthcare provider is likely watching over or helping to deliver more than one baby. Unless you're at home where you have someone there totally focused on you, they're just not. There's other women that are also laboring that they're going in to check in with, and it was like just different people. And so it's hard for them to keep up with what your preferences are and what the next person's are, especially if they're long plans. Hey, Christine, or is it Chris Marcano? Hello. And you said that you downloaded one that was 1 page. That's amazing. That's where we want to get to. That is what is optimal. You definitely want a plan that is present at the birth that is 1 page long, right? And it's going to have all of your preferences in it. And the key, Chris, is to have an extended plan maybe for your support person. So it's okay for your support person to know more than just what's on that one sheet, right? Because what you want is ideally other things that might span beyond the actual delivery, the active delivery part, right? And so you definitely can have a longer plan, but that 1 pager is going to be essential for your healthcare workers, your labor and delivery nurses, your physician or midwife or doula. They will need to have a point of contact that's a quick reference that they want to know. Do you want an epidural or not? How do you want to labor? Do you want to get into water or do you want to get on a birthing ball? They need to be able to reference something quickly and not shuffle through a ton of papers. Chris, I am interested, or I want to know, do you plan to birth in a hospital or birthing center, or what is your intended birth method? I would really like to know that. So as we move forward, so the first one is that they are too long, right? Oh, okay, great. A hospital at 98.4%, I think is the percentage that most people birth in a hospital. So you are certainly not alone. You are in the majority. It's a good way to go if you are concerned about any kind of things that might arise or during the birthing process that could come up unexpectedly, or if you would like to implement any type of intervention along the way. of laboring and delivery, it is good to be in a place where they can administer those if needed. Okay, yeah, it's common to not necessarily know a lot about those, and I'm actually going to be doing a live coming up. I want to say next week. So make sure you tune in then, where I'm going to be going over the top 3 birthing methods, and we'll talk more about some of those options. They're good options. I'm not here to steer you one way or another, but I guess statistically speaking, hospital births are indeed the most common globally, no matter where you are. So I am not surprised by that choice. I'm so happy for you. Tell me, when are you due? When is your expected due date? So while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to jump into the second reason. So the first reason we know is that birth plans can tend to be a little long, right? Unless you're smart like Chris and you have a one-pager.
Hey mama, got an empty hospital bag? No birth plan? Or how about this? You want to make a birth plan, but don't know where to start? No problem. Today's episode is brought to you by Bump to Bundle Blueprint, an online program designed to help you create a stress-free birth blueprint in 6 weeks or less. Listen, if you think you need help preparing for your baby's arrival, you absolutely do. Check out our wildly popular free masterclass titled The 3 Mistakes First-Time Moms Make When Preparing for Birth and What to Do Instead. This masterclass is chock full with all kinds of valuable information, like my 3-step framework for creating a stress-free birth plan, the #1 way to having a positive birth experience, and the secret to transitioning into motherhood like a boss. If you're pregnant and want to learn more about our proven method to help you prepare for your first birth, click the link in the show notes. See you there.
Number 2, another reason why your birth plan is probably not working is because it's not communicated well. And I talked about this in part 1, where you need a birth plan that is a quick reference for your healthcare provider, and then you need a birth plan that you're going to go over in more detail with your support person there. And this is really important, guys, because your support person is going to be able to advocate for you when you're not able to advocate for yourself. Once birth really takes off, and you get into active labor, and those contractions are really coming pretty hard and pretty quick, it's hard for you to be in a position to be able to advocate for yourself. So if you've already determined some things that you want to try as you're laboring and as you're giving birth, you need to inform your support person so that they can advocate for you and just speak up a little bit with your doctor, with your labor and delivery nurse, because likely, again, something we talked about a little bit ago is that they're often seeing about other patients, right? And so when they come into your room, you and your support person, it's important to be on the same page and kind of pre-discuss things that you've gone over in a more elaborate way with them, so that they can help you advocate for some of your birth choices. How do you want the room? Do you want the lights dim? Are you okay with music playing in the background, or do you want it completely silent? That person can help to get those things going, and also to remind staff as they're coming in and out to assist you that, hey, this is her birth preference. We really want to go this way. Or she's stated that she doesn't want an epidural until we've labored for this amount of time, and then we'll consider it there. So these are things that you can go over in detail with your support person, but probably not with your doctor or your nurse. You're going to mention it to them, but you need to be able to have that quick reference for them, and then a more detailed plan to go over with your support person. And that's usually where the disconnect is, right? That is one of the reasons Again, why the birth plan is not working is because there's a disconnect in that communication with your support person who's there to help advocate for you. And so if you're expecting that of your doctor, your midwife, your doula, or your labor and delivery nurse, they may not be on that same page with you because they didn't have the long, deep conversations. Labor and delivery nurses are only there for a shift. And after that shift, depending on when you are admitted to give birth, you could come at the beginning of their shift or the end or in the middle. And so they're just not able to be on top of things in detail like a support person that has been there for the journey and you guys have had an in-depth conversation. They understand what your preferences are, what your personality is. It's important to communicate your preferences well, and they're going to help you do that. And then number 3, we're coming to the third reason why your birth plan is likely not working, and that is because it's not comprehensive enough. So one of the things that I'm super excited about, I do have a program coming out at the end of this month, and I'm really excited about it because what I learned as a first-time mom transitioning into motherhood was that I needed something that was comprehensive to help me transition, not just to help me labor at the hospital. Most people have this idea that it's all about just throwing some items in a hospital bag and rushing off to deliver the baby. And while that is important, it is not enough to fully help you transition into motherhood. And that is probably the number one reason why you hear so many moms of newborns say it's so tough. It's so tough because you're trying to figure out everything on the fly, right? And so that is definitely the third reason why your birth plan is not working, is because it's not comprehensive enough. You really need to have something that addresses your maternity leave. How long will you be off? Do you have savings stashed away? Are you doing a sinking fund to really help you cover time span you're going to be off with the baby? Because that often means that if you're here in the United States, there's no maternity paid plan. And so you have to rely on whatever benefits come from your job, or even if you're in a country that has a paternity or maternity plan pay, right? It's usually not at 100%. It's usually at a percentage. So there's still going to be a gap in the amount of money that you're going to be deficient of from being on maternity leave. That needs to be considered. You need to have a plan to prepare your home. What about making meals ahead of time so that when you're home with baby, especially if you had a hard labor or delivery, there are things that could occur. We're hoping for the best, right? But there are small things that could occur, and you don't necessarily want to be trying to figure out, what am I going to eat today? You want to have those things thought of well in advance. And then postpartum care. When you're home with baby, one of the things I teach inside of my program is breastfeeding before you have the baby. So many, if you're like me, I failed miserably at breastfeeding, and it's because I was trying to learn on the fly. Once the baby got here, I was trying to attach my son to the breast and figure it all out right then and there, when there's a better way. It really does take preparing up front to understand that it's important to put the baby to the breast right from birth, right after you deliver. That's key. It's what I call the magic hour. And that helps to build milk supply even before there's a good milk supply to come down into the breast. But most people don't know that. Another thing that is important to know is that breastfeeding is demand and supply, and not supply and demand, right? We're taught, especially from a business sense, that everything is supply and demand, supply and demand. But it's not that way with breastfeeding. And that was really hard for me because I thought the milk will come and then he'll feed. but it really takes you putting them to the breast, even when there's just a tiny bit of colostrum, that is going to help build the milk supply. So these are all things that inside of my program, we help you to figure all of that out before you go in to have the baby. So while the one-page birth plan is essential for the healthcare workers during your actual delivery, you need a more comprehensive plan to actually help you transition into motherhood. And so I encourage you that even if you don't, if you're not one of my clients, or if you don't necessarily work with me, that's fine. That's fine. I'm here to help you understand what you need when you give birth, especially as a first-time mom. That is my goal, because I was just in such a tough spot. You have the baby blues because your body, the hormones are trying to readjust to pre-pregnancy status, right? After you have the baby, your body is trying to get back to what it knows to be as normal. It's a tough adjustment, guys. And at the same time, you love this little baby and you feel responsible for everything for them, because they're literally dependent on you 24 hours a day. And it's just hard to make that match. But it's so much easier when you have a good birth plan that really can support you from pregnancy through birth through postpartum. And so that is definitely, if I have to, I'll shout it from the rooftops. I will say it over and over again. You need a more comprehensive plan. It needs to be broken down into compartments, but it definitely needs to be where you can definitely have a more supportive plan that will get you from being just you to you and baby. So with that being said, I hope that I've explained the hiccups that will happen if you don't effectively execute a birth plan. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or to DM me. I'm always available, guys. It's truly what I do. And like I said, even if you don't necessarily, if you're not one of my clients, or if you don't choose my program, I still beg you to please put a birth plan together so that you can feel fully supported and you can be the best you, right, for your little one that is on the way. So with that being said, if you're interested, or if you like this and you want more information, click the link in my bio and there is a wait list. So it's going to be my program that I put together from a one-on-one standpoint. I've now put it into a full system, and the program will drop at the end of this month. Y'all, I'm so excited. I am so excited because I feel like I'll be able to help more moms on a wider scale than just the one-on-ones that I've been doing. I'm so grateful for all of my clients. They're amazing. They just light me up when I hear about positive birth experiences. And so being able to help on a wider scale, I'm so excited about. So if you're interested, be sure to click the link and join the wait list so that you can get some exclusive offers that will be only available to my VIP list before it goes to the public. So definitely make sure that you check that out. Again, if you have questions, even if you have questions that you think of outside of the live, come back, shoot me a DM, or put the question under this post, and I'm happy to answer. Anything in regards to lactation, childbirth, the actual process, or birth prep. So anything you need to prep to get ready for the baby. Because again, it is really my true desire to help you transition into motherhood. Just thinking about it now, I could almost cry because it was so rough. It was so rough for me. Because I had no point of reference. I didn't know what I was doing. And the thing is that I so thought I did. I thought I knew it. And then getting into the thick of it, it was just so much different. It was so much more involved than what I had anticipated. So with that being said, definitely don't forget to hit the link in my bio to find out more and to get on the list. I'll be back next week with another episode. Again, Chris, if you're still on, I am going to be going over the top 3 birth methods so that we can understand a little bit more. I actually am going to be going live a little bit more because I do have so many topics that I want to try and really hit and cover to really help support you guys, hopefully impact your birth so that you can have a positive birth experience. All right, guys, I actually have another meeting to jump on. So until next time, happy birthing. See you soon. Bye.